Today's experiment is chromatography. Materials and chemicals used: acetone, hexane, methanol, methylene chloride, 50% toluene and 50% ethyl acetate, 70% hexane and 30% acetone, mixture of vanillin and vanilla alcohol, diphenyl methanol and benzophenone, benzoin and benzyl. Then benzoin, only benzyl, solution in acetone. This one is fluorinone, unknown for part A. Mixture of fluorinone and fluorinone, solid fluorinone for part C, for the chemical reaction to monitor by TLC. Clean micropipettes. Then developing chambers, TLC plates in desiccator, sodium borohydride reducing agent, this is also kept in desiccator, ruler, pencil to prepare the TLC plate, filter paper in order to equilibrate the developing chamber, stopwatch, iodine for visualization, so as the UV lamp. So these two mixtures, vanillin and vanilla alcohol and diphenyl methanol and benzophenone, we are not going to use it today. I'm going to only show you benzoin and benzyl, but similarly you can do the TLC with these two mixtures as well. So these two developing solvents basically you would use for these two mixtures, which we are not going to do today. So the developing chambers which have the methylene chloride, right, that will go to the halogenated phase, and all other basically solutions will go to the non-halogenated phase. And this is the micropipettes. So every time you're going to use one micropipette, right, separate. So and then you need to discard it. So where you are going to discard? They will go only in the glass trash bin, not in the regular trash can. All other filter papers and everything, paper towel, they will go to the regular trash can. Today you are going to learn about thin layer chromatography. So that's the focus of this experiment. And there are various chromatography techniques like column chromatography and high performance thin layer chromatography, high performance liquid chromatography, that is also called as HPLC, gas chromatography, that is also called as GC, and many others. So actually chromatography, I would say perhaps the most important technique used by organic chemists to separate the components of a mixture. This technique involves the distribution of different compounds or ions of a mixture between two phases. Right, so one is called as the stationary phase and another is called as the mobile phase, and based on that we have different types of chromatography. And well, chromatography works on the similar principle what you have seen in experiment number 3. There was the liquid extraction, and so in extraction you have seen the components of a mixture, they are distributed between the two solvents based on their solubilities, relative solubilities on those two solvents. So in chromatography, the separation actually depends on the differences in how strongly the components of a mixture are adsorbed to the stationary phase and how soluble they are in the mobile phase. So the word is adsorption, not absorption. So I will explain once we will do the chromatography, thin layer chromatography, and show you the TLC plate. Then I will explain a little bit more that what do you mean by adsorption. So, and these differences actually depend primarily on the relative polarities of the components in a mixture. So basically that's our main focus, as I mentioned, the thin layer chromatography. And it is a relatively simple and inexpensive chromatographic technique. This experiment is divided into 4 parts, A, B, C, and D. So we're gonna do A, B, and C in this lab, and for part D, I will show you some other column chromatography video, so that you will at least come to know what is the process and how is it different than TLC and everything. Part A. In this experiment, you would use the TLC plate, and on the TLC plate, basically, you would separate the mixture of three compounds: fluorine, fluorinol, and fluorinone. So these three, all three have different polarities. So we're going to take the advantage of different polarities, and we will see how you can separate these three compounds on the TLC plate. Let's start part A. This is the TLC plate, as you can see. And this is the adsorbent, which is silica gel. That's the white color coating, right? Powder coating on the base. So this could be a plastic base, or it could be an aluminum base, or it could be a glass base. And basically this is the, a TLC plate. So remove the TLC plate from the desiccator at the time of preparing it, because the TLC plates are dried and then kept in the desiccator so that they will not absorb moisture. If the moisture is already on the TLC plate, then the separation won't be effective. Now, the handling of the TLC plate, all the time you would handle the TLC plate like this. Never you're going to touch from the middle, because you do not want to contaminate silica gel. Now, how do you come to know that where is a silica gel? So when I will turn upside down, you would see kind of a glossy, side, isn't it? And you can see the reflection of the light here. That means this is just the plastic. There is no silica gel here. But when you will turn this side, this is the coating of the silica gel here. So you are going to make these spots, you are going to actually work this side. And this is just the plastic support. Now, how to prepare the plate for the development? Basically, from the bottom, you need to mark a line 1 centimeter above. So this distance is basically 1 centimeter. And always use pencil, never use pen, because pen contains ink, and we do not want ink, because ink will start also separating into its components. But pencil, it's inert in silica gel, so always use pencil. And when you would draw a line, draw it with a very soft hand, because if you will draw it really hard, the silica gel may flake off, and we do not want that. So let's say here you are going to spot 5 samples. So you need to leave the equal space from the edges, like 0.6 centimeter here and 0.6 centimeter here. And then you are going to mark the spots 1 centimeter interval. So they are of equal interval. And why we are doing it? So that these spots will not mix together, and they will separate when they will move up in the silica plate nicely. Now, how separation takes place on the silica gel? So with the help of the micropipette, as you can see here, this is the micropipette. They are different than that of the melting point tubes, right? Melting point tubes, they are closed at one end, whereas the micropipettes, they are thinner than the melting point tubes, and they are open from both the ends. So with the capillary action, the solvent will or the solution or mixture will flow in. Using that, you would spot it right on the spots. And for every sample, you would take a different micropipette. You do not want to contaminate the spots, otherwise you will not get the correct results. And once you use it, you are going to put it back into the used micropipette bin. So that's how this is used to spot the plate. Now let's say your spotting is done. So you are going to basically put your silica gel plate into a developing chamber. So this is the developing chamber. So I'll talk in a little bit about it more. So once it goes into the developing chamber, so what happens? Here you already spotted your sample. So this is your stationary phase. The silica gel coating, this is called as a stationary phase. And in the development chamber, you would add your mobile phase. So you have now two phases for the mixture to separate based on their polarities. So let's see how the components of a mixture, they get separated on the TLC plate, or how you can basically find the unknown. So we will spot the samples here, and they would travel, the components will travel as per their polarity. So first of all, the mixtures or the components, basically they would adsorb, not absorb. Adsorb means, first of all, they're gonna stick there and then they will deadsorb or detach. Then again stick, detach, absorbed, deadsorb, and then that's how basically they will travel up. Now, which helps in traveling up the sample? They cannot just travel up by themselves. So we would need a mobile phase, and mobile phase will be present in the developing chamber. So this is the TLC developing chamber. I have used basically the methylene chloride, that's the mobile phase, for separation of the part A compounds. So I have added methylene chloride to it. I have added about 10 milliliters. Preparing a development chamber. So developing chamber could be a bottle, a screw cap bottle like this, or you can use just the beaker and cover it with aluminum foil. In order to run a TLC plate, you would use, of course, the developing chamber, as I mentioned. And in the developing chamber, before putting the TLC plate for the development, it should be saturated. So for saturation, you would use a filter paper. So this is a filter paper, and you need to cut it in such a way so that it does not quite extend around the inside of the jar. And a small vertical opening, about 2 to 3 centimeter, should be left in the filter paper so that development can be observed. And before the development, the filter paper inside the development chamber should be thoroughly moistened with the development solvent. Well, this filter paper helps to keep the chamber saturated with the solvent vapors, and that actually speeds the development. You would come to know when your filter paper completely get moistened with the solvent. So give enough time. So now you know how to prepare the TLC plate. Now you know how to develop the developing chamber. So basically, once we spot the samples on the TLC plate, we're gonna put this TLC plate into this chamber, developing chamber, right? So with the help of the mobile phase and the stationary phase, the separation will happen. And it all depends upon the polarities of the compound and the polarity of the mobile phase. So let's say if here you are spotting really a very polar compound, right? And your mobile phase is not that polar. So the compound will adsorb to the silica gel plate really very strongly. And your if the solvent is not that polar, so it cannot pull the compound up on the TLC plate, so it won't travel much. So that's basically the whole idea. Depending upon the polarity, they will basically travel. That's how you would separate all the components. So I have made here 5 spots, right? So these 5 spots are, first is fluorine, fluorinol, fluorinone, unknown, and the reference mixture. It is very important to develop this key. Either you can write it here on the top for your reference, or on a piece of a paper separately, so that you will not mix up with your spots. Now the spotting of the TLC plate. So I'm going to use 5 different micropipettes in order to avoid any contamination. So my first spot is fluorine. So I'm going to pick 1 micropipette, the first one, and then I will open up the bottle and I'm going to spot it. So take a little bit . And with the capillary action, you can see the mixture is filled up in here. right? So fluorine is already mixed in acetone, right? So these are all made, liquids. So you would spot it at an angle like this, and you can blow it. I spotted it 2 times, as you have seen. It is very important to blow it, because if you will not blow it, then the spot will become bigger. So just to be at that, at that site, at that spot, basically what you have drawn from the pencil, you need to spot it and blow it, and again spot it and then blow it. Now, how many times you are going to do that? So it's good to check with the UV lamp. This is a UV lamp. I'm going to use it to visualize my TLC plate after the development. So if you see, this is basically a pretty good concentration. Similarly, I'm going to do with fluorinol. You blow it so it's completely dried. Do not touch the capillary tube for a long time from the top. Otherwise, all of the liquid from this micropipette will come and spot it, and you will get a really big spot. And that's what we do not want. Otherwise, the separation won't be effective. In the spot of fluorinol. And similarly, I'm gonna do for all other 3. As you can see, I have spotted all the spots now. Disposed all the used micropipettes into this beaker, which is the waste beaker. So now I'm going to place the TLC plate into the development chamber for development, and you are going to plate in such a way so that your spots will not be soluble, dip into the solvent. And make sure the plate must be placed in the chamber carefully so that no part of the plate touches the filter paper liner. That's very important. So you can see it's not touching the filter paper liner anywhere, and the spots were not dissolved into the solvent and then covered. You can see that TLC plate is in the development chamber and the solvent is rising. So once you see the solvent is 1 centimeter below the top edge of the TLC plate, at that time you are going to carefully remove it. Now, I mentioned before that the TLC plate should not touch the paper liner, the filter paper liner. So why is it so? So if it touches the filter paper liner, then that filter paper is already moistened with the solvent. So solvent will start, going into the TLC plate due to the capillary action from the filter paper, and then it will basically spoil the results, or spoil the development of the TLC plate. And the second thing I mentioned, that the spots should not dissolve into the solvent. So once the spots are dissolved, they will come to the developing chamber, and nothing will be there on the TLC plate to rise and separate. So it is the time to remove the TLC plate. It's about 1 centimeter from the top, as you can see. Put it on the paper towel and immediately mark the solvent front, because you would need it for your retention factor. From the edge, now I am holding it from the top because there is no solvent, right? So I am kind of trying to dry in air before I visualize it. So I am visualizing the TLC plate under the UV light. This TLC plate, actually adsorbent, has a fluorescent indicator. So it just fluoresces basically in the UV light, as you can see here. So you can clearly see the spots now, right? So the first one was fluorine. So you can basically make a circle around it. You can make a circle, correct? Another one is fluorinol. You can see this is fluorinol, right? Third one is fluorinone. So this is your fluorinone. Fourth is unknown. So this is your unknown, right? You can see just above 4. And then the fifth one is the reference mixture. So this is one spot, this is another spot, and that's the third spot, right? So as you can see how important is to quickly mark the solvent front. If you will not mark the solvent front, then you don't know where your solvent start flowing, right? So how can you calculate the retention factor? And it is also important to stop the TLC plate at the right time, about 1 to 2 centimeter from the top, so that you will not overrun it. If you will overrun it, then these spots will be here, and you basically you cannot calculate the retention factor at that point, because you cannot mark your solvent front. And make sure you are going to see your TLC plate under the short wavelength. This is another way of visualizing the TLC plate. You just saw that I used the short UV wavelengths, right, in order to circle these spots of the compounds. This one is via iodine. So I have the iodine crystals. As you can see, some of them are still there, and I put it on the hot plate so that it will basically sublime, right? And then, so this beaker is filled with iodine vapors, and I'm going to pour this TLC plate into the iodine, and then it will start showing its color. You can cover it because it's not good to inhale iodine, it's an halogen, and put it in the hood, and leave it here for some time so that it will basically the spots will show their color. I'm going to remove the TLC plate from iodine. And you can see. So basically, you would see the similar results as you have seen in UV light. So the spots are already circled there. So basically, these are the results from iodine. You must be wondering that why iodine gives color to the TLC plate. So the reason is these are spots, right? So these spots are nothing but they are compounds on the TLC plate. And these compounds basically they form complex, or I should say color complex with iodine. And that's how we can see the color on the TLC plate and the process of visualization. And why do we see the dark spots under UV? So basically, the compound prevents the fluorescent material from receiving the UV light. So if you remember, this all background was fluorescent green, right? So compound was kind of quenching, and it was, so the TLC plate wasn't receiving the UV light. So those spots were dark, and all other extra TLC plate, basically it was fluorescent green. Certain things to keep in mind for TLC, though I have mentioned some of them during the experiment. Well, when you put the TLC plate into the solvent, make sure the level of solvent should be below the spot. Otherwise, the spot will dissolve into the solvent, and there will be nothing to travel up to the TLC plate. Now, it all depends upon the polarity of the solvent and the compounds which are under separation. So based on that, less polar component has traveled further. So in this case, the blue one is the less polar component and the red one is the more polar component. So it is basically adsorbs to the TLC plate more strongly. Now, related to the spotting, what things to watch out for? Overloading. So we should not overload the plate. Now, if you will overload the plate, the tailing might happen, as you can see in this picture. And location of the center of the spot will be inaccurate in this case. So the calculation of the retention factor won't be accurate. So always it is important to check the spot after loading under the UV light. And if you think that it is enough concentration, then you don't have to overload the spot. Now at the same time, the spot shouldn't be too small so that it will be difficult to see. Then comes the solvent front. So you should not allow solvent front to reach to the top of the plate, as you can see here. Now, if the solvent front will reach to the top of the plate, you won't be able to calculate the RF, as you can see right there. Now, if the TLC plate will touch to the filter paper liner, right, then basically the solvent will start entering the TLC plate due to the capillary action from the side. And you will develop the spot sideways, right? So it will be inaccurate. The correct calculation of the RF will be inaccurate and you will spoil your results. Now, interpretation of the data. So you can interpret the data of a TLC by the calculation of the retention factor. Retention factor value for each spot should be calculated. And it is characteristic for any given compound on the same stationary phase using the same mobile phase for the development of the plates. So basically, known RF values can be compared to those of unknown substances to aid their identification. And same thing you are going to do in this experiment. So you are supposed to calculate the RF values for all the spots, and then you are going to compare those RF values with the known substances, for example, in the reference mixture. And that's how you will come to know that which is your compound, right? So what is the formula to calculate the RF value? It is distance from start to the center of the spot divided by distance from start to solvent front. As you can see here in this picture, this is the spot. So it traveled from the origin 2.1 centimeter. Similarly, the distance of the solvent front from the original line is 2.8 centimeter. When you will calculate the RF value, it is 0.75. So RF values of the same compounds in a TLC plate in a particular mobile phase, they are same. And based on that, you will conclude your results. Values of part A to calculate retention factor. First is fluorine, second is fluorinol, third fluorinone, fourth unknown is fifth is the reference mixture. Solvent front moved 7.50 centimeter from the line of origin, and so as other spots from the line of origin. The values are listed here. Reference mixture has three different values corresponding to three different spots. Based on the RF values, you would figure out the unknown.